Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your December 2022 tarot card and astrology readings. Congratulations, we made it to December. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Jane, for those of you who are new. I am so grateful to have you here. So as always, these readings are separated into two segments. The first segment is going to be an intuitive tarot card reading, and the second segment is going to be an astrological prediction. So you're more than welcome to watch either segment first. All the timestamps are going to be found in the description box and the comment thread down below for easy access. You can watch for your sun, moon, or rising sign, although I do recommend watching your rising sign if you are concerned about having accurate house transit information. You can certainly watch for your Venus sign if you're here for love. And if you're interested in joining my Soul Seekers group, we would absolutely love to have you on there. Soul Seekers group is where I post exclusive content specifically geared for members, where we go more in depth on specific transits, and we have a little bit more educational information coming out on there as well. So please see the timestamps in the description box and the comment thread down below to jump to each segment of the reading. I hope you guys have an amazing December. You know I love you, and I'll see you in just a sec. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to your tarot card reading for December 2022. So let's take a look here, Cancer, and see what comes through with this intuitive deck. I'm just going to pull one card just to open up the channel. So let's see. I'm seeing like some kind of a diagram, like a technical or a mechanical thing with a whole bunch of little moving pieces. So there does seem to be a lot of intricacies in your life right now that you're needing to pay attention to. Well, that makes sense with sixth house activation. Paying attention to things like schedules and like planning and ideas and mapping things out and getting some kind of a strategy in place. And, it's like putting all the ideas together in a way that makes sense, that's cohesive, and that's actually leading somewhere. This is a great time for Cancer to get super organized, because it's possible that you may be feeling a little all over the place with that Mars retrograde in the 12th house there. So this is a time to consolidate a lot of things, to tie up loose ends so that nothing is really lingering or there's nothing outstanding that's going to, really stay in your mind and really bother you. I'm going to leave it at that. I want to start with the next card, but I'm probably going to come back to that. That probably is going to be really important. It seems preparatory, like you're preparing for, like something's going to take off, something's going to launch, something's going to happen. You're already planning for it, and you're just getting all of it's like you're like greasing the machine, really. Okay. The Empress. So you are creating something. There's something highly creative coming in through Cancer. Now, you may be in a creative mode as you're thinking about the new year, 2023, coming on board. What do I hope to accomplish? What do I need to do in order to support that? But there is an element of softness here with the Empress as well. She's highly receptive. And of course, I love the fact that the moon is here as well. That's your ruling planet, obviously. So there's that deep connection with just kind of a knowing, and knowing what's right for you, and knowing what makes sense. And I know you have high ambitions for yourself, meaning you're willing to do a lot in order to get a lot. And if you have goals that challenge you, even your mind to even think about, if you have goals that challenge you, it's possible that this is a time where you sit down and you say, okay, this seems out of reach for me. So from what I know now, how can I step by step get myself there? And let's break it down. Let's make it small. Like, let's get into the very small nuts and bolts of how this is going to go together. What are my daily tasks that need to be done consistently in order to be there? And that could be something like exercising or eating certain types of foods, or doing something task-wise at work, or reading something, a chapter a day, or whatever it is. Small incremental steps to help you accomplish the whole big thing. Because chances are it is a whole big thing and probably feels unattainable to you right now. So, well, we can pull out both. I didn't really want to, but this is the environment. That's fine, but they both turned out upright. So now Queen of Swords is, I feel like she's offering a lot of, wisdom right now, but she's not really involved with what's going on. So this could be an advisor or a counselor or, a friend who has advice, but who's not, going to be there on a daily basis. The Queen of Swords can be sharp, but you can always rely upon her to be honest with you. So even if it's something you don't want to hear, you probably would go to a Queen of Swords and be like, all right, tell me what I don't want to hear. And she'll tell you. This is going to be a weird kind of support that you really need. She's going to help you to confront a lot of stuff, and she may trigger you. And I just did a reading for Gemini, and was it Gemini? It was Taurus. That's who it was. It was Taurus. And there were like triggers all over the place. So I think some signs throughout December are going to go through a period of growth that will be highly triggering, but not in a negative way to the point where like your anxiety is going to spiral or you're going to go back into, that dark night of the soul. It's not like that. It's triggering that is motivating you to essentially become a different person by, your brain's going to start working differently. You're going to start resonating with different frequencies. You're going to get out of your comfort zone. She's kind of here to really push you to do that through honesty. All right. And she's going to be a mirror to you. And sometimes we like what we look in the mirror and sometimes we don't. But you can trust this person's feedback. Then we have the King of Cups. Now he can be more compassionate and maybe a little bit more emotionally connected to the process and might offer more spiritual insights. She's going to be a little more real world. He'll maybe talk to you about existentialist types of topics that may help you, in a different way, but they both will help you. I'm kind of looking at both of them. She's looking in that direction. He's got his eyes closed. There is something about people not really being involved in your life. Like they don't want to look at it for some reason. They don't want to participate. They don't want, and if this is like someone you're married to, the King of Cups specifically, not the Queen of Swords, but if the King of Cups resonates as someone that you're married to or are in a deep committed situation with, it may bother you that they feel a little disassociated, that they're not like involved as much as maybe you would like them to be involved. This is a potent process, the Empress, the creativity, the organization, the structuring, and all of that. It's involved. It requires a lot of investment. And maybe you would like someone who's a little more present for you. So if you do feel that someone close to you is a little too detached for your liking, it is possible that you're going to need to communicate what you need from that person, because they probably don't realize or they don't know, and they're just in their own world doing their own things. And their awareness, I'm not saying he's not an aware person, but the awareness just might not really be there. Okay, so let's see what else Cancer needs to know for December 2022. Judgment has been coming out a lot, which means a lot of people are coming out of a darkness. They're coming out of a funk or a haze. They're starting to see the light, but it's also really important to practice good judgment. It's that reminder. Practice good judgment as much as you possibly can by choosing the activities that are conducive to the goals that you have set for yourself. Because if you slack a little bit, I'm not saying you have to be perfect all day, every day, But there are those moments when you're sitting there and you're like, I know I should do this. And in my heart of hearts, I actually do want to do this. But then if you don't do it because you allow yourself to turn on Netflix and get distracted, or, maybe you spend a little too much time with the laundry or whatever. Not saying it doesn't need to get done, but does it have to be done right now kind of thing? If you allow yourself to get distracted and you don't carry through with the things that you said you were going to do to yourself, right? You told yourself that that's what you wanted. There does tend to be a little bit of depletion in the self-esteem or the self-confidence or the self-worth department. So following through is going to be crucial. Because as you're putting this together, there are going to be a lot of questions and there's going to be a big learning curve, because chances are where you are and where you want to go, like you have a general sense. It's kind of like, for some reason I'm seeing like a car schematic. That's the word, a schematic. Like if you were trying to build a car, you might be able to draw a basic outline of a car. Maybe you're a really good artist and you could draw the type of car that you wanted. But just because you can draw it, does that mean that you know how to build it? No. So in order to put this schematic together, there is a lot of learning. And there's a lot of going to the drawing board and brainstorming and testing ideas and experimentation. And that's why the Queen of Swords is probably going to be a really good resource for you, because it's likely that this is an individual that has experience with it. She's already built a million cars, so she can tell you exactly what to do. But just because someone is telling you exactly what to do doesn't mean there's not still a learning curve, because there absolutely is. But it's all for the sake of this beautiful creation, so it's worth it, and you are dedicated to it. You're all in. Because you see this as being the pathway for the life that you want. And I'm not even saying that you're discontent with your life. A lot of you are really happy with what is, but it's Sagittarius season. We can't help but want to expand in a Jupiter-ruled time. Plus, we have Jupiter in Pisces. We not only want to expand just to experience more, but we want to understand the true limitless potential of us as human beings. So this is a very natural moment for everybody. And it's natural for you in a more career sense, seeing as how Jupiter is sitting right there on that 10th house cusp. Okay. So let's see what else is happening for Cancer for December 2022. The Magician reversed. Four of Wands reversed. Okay. Now, I don't mind the Magician reversed because it tells me that the reason why you're here staring at a blank piece of paper trying to put together this schematic is because way back when, however many weeks, months, or even years ago, you asked for something. You said, universe, God, spirit, I want my life to look like this. And you projected out some kind of a picture. And maybe you didn't do anything with that. Maybe you tried. Maybe you stumbled a few times. Maybe you started a business. Maybe you got married, whatever the case is. And maybe it didn't work. Maybe you weren't ready, whatever the case is. I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. The Magician says the magic is already done. All right? The magic has been done, and that's the reason why you are where you are. So now it's time, Four of Wands, for you to get unstable. I kind of sense that the universe is pulling the rug out from under you a little bit. Yes, you may get humbled, but I think you also want that because you know that you've hit a wall with what you know and with what you're doing and with the pathway that you're already taking. You've hit a wall and something needs to change. So it's like Queen of Swords. Yes, please pull the rug out from under me. I need that so I can... I feel like I repeat myself over and over and over, but themes arise in these readings. And this month, one of the themes has been, we are retraining our brain. We're training ourselves to think differently and we want it. We're craving it. And I see that with the Hanged Man. Because with that halo around his head, there is some kind of an illumination. She's not only going to pull the rug out from under you, but she's going to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to tie you up here too. I'm going to make sure it sinks in. Because just because someone tells you doesn't mean you understand. So this is a process of Cancer coming into a genuine, wholehearted, full-bodied understanding, which is wisdom. That will be unforgettable and leverageable for the rest of your life. So it's a good time. It's going to be a little bumpy, because you're trying to learn how to build a car, right? You're building I think a couple months ago, I think it was the Libra reading I did a couple months ago, where I talked about the castle in the sky, right? Like how would you even build that? How would you even go about getting that? It was like the castle in the sky was the symbol that I used to represent like the big dream, So you're going after your castle in the sky now. You're starting to scheme. It's like sitting down to a game of chess and planning out every move to ensure that you win. 7 of Wands. Justice. And the Wheel of Fortune reversed. See, the Wheel of Fortune, now, when I first started reading tarot, I thought I was good at it. Looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I was so bad. Like when I first started my channel, I was still like developing as a reader, and it was really scary. And one of the interpretations that came to me after starting that channel, or this channel rather, was that the Wheel of Fortune was like a card of universal intervention, where the universe would come in and affect, right? It would have effects. When I'm kind of coming back to that. I don't know why I'm like going back to some of my original interpretations back when I was still a newbie. What was I going to say? Oh, so when it's reversed, it's like the universe is not going to interfere right now. It's waiting for you to do something. It's waiting for you to send out a new ripple, so that it can respond accordingly. I kind of feel like the universe only responds. It only responds. That's it. It only responds. So what action are you going to take? And which responses are you hoping or aiming for? You may get defensive. Okay, look, this can be a triggering moment in time. No, there's no doubt about it. It can be triggering. You are going to have to confront aspects of yourself that you have struggled to budge on. Everyone has to do it with Uranus conjunct North Node in Taurus. Taurus is a tough sign because it is of the fixed signs, it's the most fixed because it is the most dense, because it is Earth, right? It's the most hefty. And when we have this North Node Uranus conjunction, we actually need to walk over this threshold into something new. And that means we have to get out of our way. And in order to do that, we have to admit stuff about ourselves and our choices and our decisions and our habits that aren't working. And as much as we may want to defend those things, we know in our heart of hearts and in the corners of our mind, we can't continue doing it. And it is going to require us to become a different person by changing certain behaviors. And that's the only way right now. Because this plan is intricate. This is not just like a little bulleted list. This is extraordinary. Like I said, this is like a schematic of an automobile. Can you imagine? Like, I don't work in manufacturing, so I can't even begin to understand what that would look like. But I mean, even the IKEA furniture is hard enough sometimes. Think of that on like steroids and cocaine. Okay. So the intricacy of this plan or this structure or the path, it is mechanical and it is possible, but that learning curve, could you imagine going in and learning how to build a car? All the little pieces, all the little screws, all the parts, all the hoses, everything. I mean, it's just like a whole big thing, right? So that's what you're up against. Because that castle in the sky, that big dream, it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And in a way, it is your destiny. But your destiny requires you to step up once in a while. And I feel like now is that moment. And with justice, there is some, justice is like the governor of the natural laws. Like when the natural laws, law of vibration, correspondence, rhythm, polarity, gender, I can't remember the others. It's like the Kabbalion stuff, right? Justice is the governor of all of those and make sure that that's how the universe operates. So if you start taking action, right, it's kind of like, universe, stay out of it. Push it away. Universe, stay out of it. Wait until Cancer moves. Wait until their beautiful creations start to come to fruition. And then you can bring the opportunities in. And so the justice, I think, is kind of putting a hold on stuff. So if you're not taking action, then this limbo or this stagnation is 100% just going to stay there. It's not going to budge. It's not going to move. That's just what it's going to be. So you want to ask yourself, is that where you want to be? Do you want to be in a prolonged period where there hasn't been a lot of growth or a lot of productivity? Or do you want to cross the threshold toward accelerated abundance? I think many of you will say, I'm ready to cross the threshold, and you feel that readiness to do it. The thing I love about Cancer is the fact that you've got Aries in that 10th house cusp. So when it comes to your ambitions in life, you are unfreaking stoppable. But with Chiron going direct, there is probably some degree of pain that you're needing to contend with in regards to that. But it's manageable. Chiron, it's not going to be that big a deal. It's just comes in waves, It comes and then it goes very quickly, but it can change us. All right, so let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull out additional cards, and they're going to be the cards that we will cover in the comprehensive reading. The link and information for that is found in the description box and the comment thread down below. We usually talk for another 25 to 30 minutes or so about all these. So it's kind of like getting a whole second reading. We go much more in depth as well. There are multiple ways. There's like single purchase and subscription options. So please just make sure that you read to make sure that you select the right option for you. All right, so Judgment, another Judgment card. Man, that card has been coming out. It's great because it's clarity. Oh, beautiful. It's clarity. It's understanding. It's coming up out of a funk, coming out of a darkness, having epiphanies, all sorts of wonderful activity that's going to help you put this schematic together. Knight of Coins. For over here in the environment with the King and Queen. Ooh, an Emperor. You have, if you're needing like a mentor or something, I'm really getting that kind of feeling, like a teacher, a mentor, someone that can offer you advice, someone that you most likely respect a lot, or someone who has succeeded in your industry, something like that. That would be highly advantageous for you, because I feel that their opinions and their ideas would be beneficial and be one of the things that helps you accelerate this process. All right, focusing now on the Judgment card, the first one, Queen of Cups reverse. Well, that's the Cancer card. Ten of Swords. Well, that's the darkness you're coming up out of. Makes sense. And the Five of Swords. There you go. Queen of Coins reversed. Eight of Cups reversed. and the Six of Wands. Three of Cups, Ace of Wands, Judgment. Another Knight of Coins, Eight of Swords, Seven of Swords. Oh, World reversed. Eight of Coins. The intensity of focus with that Eight of Coins. I love it. I love it with sixth house activation. And here it is. Brilliant. Ace of Coins. Three of Wands. Card of wealth and abundance. Four of Wands. Death. And the Devil. All right, that was a lot of confirmation for me as a reader, so I'm really happy those cards came out. Okay, so we have Justice, Three of Coins, and a King of Cups reversed. Interesting. King of Cups could be a romantic partner for some of you. Really could be. The cups are a little bit compromised in this reading. Makes me a little bit concerned. And there's the Magician. The New Magic. Two of Swords reversed, and last but not least, ooh, beautiful, the Six of Cups. I love it. Okay, so this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So again, all that info down below. Thank you so much. You know how much I love and adore you. Have an amazing December, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to the astrology portion of your December 2022 readings. Let's go ahead and take a look here, see what comes through. So first and foremost, as we begin December, we do have the sun sitting here at 9 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is a lot of sixth house activity for you. So chances are you are going to be working in a more meticulous realm, focusing on the daily aspects of your life. But with Jupiter rulership here, kind of can go one of two ways. You may take a lot of pleasure in those things, or you may actually really try to not really deal with those things. I'm not saying Sagittarius is escapist, because it's not really, but it does want to focus more on the big picture. And those menial tasks like doing the dishes and the laundry and cleaning out your car and getting your files in the office all structured and getting the schedule together, it's not really like what Sagittarius generally likes to do. It likes to envision, and it likes to be more philosophical and more it has a lot of executive qualities, because it can really lead on into the future there. It's really futuristic. So having to pull that in and focus on, the regular aspects can be challenging and kind of feel like a disruption in where it is you really want to go. So one of the things that you could do here is you could figure out a way to still have those menial things taken care of while you're focusing on the big stuff. So, for example, you could hire an assistant at the office. If you're a business owner, you could hire an assistant, or you could outsource some of the work at home. Maybe you could hire someone to mow the lawn, or, I know it's winter, but you guys get the idea. Doing something that takes up time, that may feel like if you do that, it's going to pull away from the things you actually really want to do. I think Cancer right now is in a really big picture place with all of this upper hemisphere activation right now. And when Sun, Venus, and Mercury officially make their way into Capricorn, it's like every planet is in that upper hemisphere. So there is more focus on the much, much bigger things. It comes out of your private world. It comes out of yourself, and it focuses much more in the external. We want greater career growth. We want better relationships. We want to take relationships to the next level and all sorts of things. And focusing on the dishes, it's not very conducive to that. All right, so being able to delegate or to outsource or to hire people or to ask people for help, whatever the case may be, is going to be really important for Cancer throughout December forward, really on into March when Mars finally makes his way into this first house. But even then, there's still going to be so much activation up here in this part of the chart. Again, this all starts this month in December when all these planets come into Capricorn. So getting that going now and figuring out how you can, outsource would be a really, really good idea. So anyway, let's go through some of the big transits that you'll be experiencing throughout December. So first and foremost, December 3rd, Neptune goes direct. So Neptune, which is this planet of incredible spirituality and healing and consciousness, it is in a really religious and spiritual house. Of course, the 9th house is one of, if not the most spiritual house on the wheel. So there is this quality of taking a lot of the spiritual development that you've gone through. Maybe you have been learning a lot. Maybe you have been reading books over the past several months. Maybe you have come into new ideas about who you are and whatnot, and coming into deeper understanding of your own potential. Maybe you have removed a lot of mental and emotional blocks as well. And when it starts to go direct, we get to externalize that limitlessness. So the more free we became over the past several months internally, we are going to experience that freedom and abundance in the external world. And because this is in the 9th house, a lot of abundance comes through this house as well, not to mention that it is in Jupiter-ruled Pisces too. Well, also Neptune-ruled from a modern perspective. I'm kind of starting to lean more toward traditional rulerships, guys, if you haven't noticed by now. So if I do that, that's just because I just kind of feel like traditional rulerships make a whole heck of a lot more sense. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, being in a Jupiter sign or being in his modern rulership, whatever you want to say, there is a lot of power to that. And you are going to start to realize and actualize, meaning there's a tangibility to things. With the 9th house, I love the 9th house, okay? Also, I love Sagittarius season as well, because there's kind of this balance between spirituality and religion and connection with God and the material world, that there is no distinction between the two, that they are one and of the same. And that the more you grow spiritually, the more you develop internally, the more likely you are to grow materialistically as well. And there's something so beautiful about that balance, and there's no shame or guilt. Just because you're a spiritual person does not mean you can't also be wealthy. And so there's kind of this acceleration of both, which is really exciting. So anyway, that's happening on December 3rd. Talking a lot. And then on the 6th, we have Mercury coming into Capricorn. He will be doing a retrograde in here at the end of the month. All right, this is going to come into opposition with you. Obviously, Capricorn is your opposite. And if you are partnered or have a relationship, chances are there's going to be a big focus on that relationship. If you're totally single, you're not completely immune, because we all have one-on-one connections, and we all have people that we are obliged to, or we have commitments to, whether it's our clients or whether it's our employers. If there's a contract or an agreement involved, or even just a standing understanding, that's 7th house. Okay, so our others are going to be needing stuff from us, and we may be needing stuff from them. And being able to ask for help and being able to offer help is going to be a big part of this. If your partner or a significant other or a spouse has a lot going on in their job, or if they are trying to initiate something new in their life, this could be a highly advantageous time for them. And chances are they're going to have a couple of months here, December, when Mercury comes in, and then it's going to retrograde through January, then it's going to move forward again. So they've got a couple of months to really get things organized and structured, and they may just be doing a lot of busy work themselves. So anyway, okay, so that was Mercury coming in. And then on the 7th, which is the next day, we have a full moon in your 12th house conjunct Mars. Over here, right? Sagittarius is here, the moon over here. Now, this could accentuate physical and spiritual health as well. The thing I really like about this full moon and the Mars connection, I really like the fact that it is action oriented, and actually a lot of healing right now, especially for Cancer, because this Mars is happening in their 12th house. So a lot of the healing is happening because you're doing stuff, not just anything. It's not just busy work for the sake of busy work. It's specific and focused action that is on your little action plan to get you to your goals. All right, so the more deliberate and the more precise. Now, Mars, when he's retrograde, can be much, much more precise than when he is going direct through a sign like Gemini. Because Gemini can be, like, it's about collecting information. So it's about spreading way, way, way out and gathering a lot of stuff. But when Mars goes the other direction, he kind of says, okay, well, with this whole playing field of information, what do I need right now? Okay, that's what I need. So I'm going to go in this direction and I'm going to acquire this information and then I'm going to apply it. And while all of this is okay, it's not advantageous for me right now. So that's where the precision goes with the Mars retrograde. Okay, so this is helpful because when we have that full moon, it's like our path is eliminated and we know that's the direction I have to go. These are the steps I have to take. There's no confusion there. And I don't think that full moon is going to be confused, not with a Mercury in Capricorn, in a cardinal sign ruled by Saturn, Saturn being a representative of reality and truth. No. No. There's no confusion at that time. Okay? Maybe later, and I know that Neptune can make things weird, but it doesn't matter. Mars is Mars. Okay? So then we have that full moon on the 7th, and then on the 9th, just 2 days later, Venus comes into Capricorn as well. So again, if you're espoused, a lot of focus on the spouse. If you have a business partner, a lot of focus on them. You know, they may have really great ideas and really strong concepts that they're working with, you know. So I'm not saying that just because it's going on with them does not mean it won't help you. Chances are it will to some degree. All right, and then we don't really have anything going on until the 20th, which is when Jupiter comes into Aries. Now this is really exciting. Jupiter coming over this line yet again, and I know that this has already happened, right? I already know that. It already came into Aries, and then it did a retrograde back into Pisces, but so when it came over, it was already kind of slowing down a little bit. And then it moved very, very slowly backwards, and now it's slowly starting to gain speed. I feel that the first go around in that 10th house, it just sort of planted the seed for expansion. But this time around, this is when you're really going to grab the bull by the horns, or the ram by the horns, if I can use the Aries analogy there. You can really grab them by the horns and you can say, okay, let's freaking do this for real. Because it's not just about desire anymore. Cancer is not going to be satisfied with just keeping the desire alive. It's not about a burning desire. I mean, that's what motivates us to do stuff. But if we keep it harbored up, then eventually that energy is going to turn sour. Because if we don't get it out of our physical bodies, it putrefies. And with the moon, you know, I've been kind of studying a lot of traditional astrology lately. And if you're a member of my Soul Seekers group, I just did an incredible episode teaching a little bit more about the planets and the qualities and significations of those things, and also the elemental qualities. So there's like hot, cold, humid, and dry, right? Which is a really important aspect of the planets. And the moon is slightly warming, and it also has a moisture component to it, or a humidifying component, which can either bring life or putrefy. Okay, so the word life or putrefy, it's like one or the other for you with the moon. You're either bringing life into things, or it's decaying. And you, like being moon ruled, you have to contend with that the most because your ruling planet is the one that is going around so freaking fast. And it is up and down and bright and dark and all these declinations. Like, it is all over the place all the time. And so the purposeful intention of bringing life into something is really, really important. So if you let that desire energy just stay in your body, it will decay and it will create issues with your physical body, right? You are a highly sensitive individual because the moon rules the physical body. And if you're a first house Cancer especially, now some of you may not be watching for your rising sign, and that's perfectly fine. But I mean, this is like, your physical body is such a huge component of who you are, which is why you're so intuitive, which is why you're so sensitive, because you're actually in tune with your body. Like, duh, obviously, right? So this is the time. That burning desire, it has to leave your body now. You have to put it out into the world. If it just stays in an idea form, it's going to cause unhappiness, okay? So that's on the 20th. Sorry, I'm trying to make this simple. You guys know I love to talk. I have Sagittarius in the 3rd house. I've got Uranus in there. I can't help it, okay? I've got Mercury pretty close to my sun as well. I can't help it. Okay, so that's Jupiter on the 20th. On the 21st, that's when the sun comes into Capricorn. So at the 21st, that is when all the activity is in this upper hemisphere, at least until March, when Mars enters into your sign. And obviously it's winter solstice. So that's when the nighttime starts to, we have the longest night, well, Northern Hemisphere. I'm sorry, Southern Hemisphere people. Just that most astrology, all astrology really is Northern Hemisphere based. So we have or Western astrology anyway. So we have the longest night, the shortest day, but this is when it starts to change. So the night starts to decline and the day starts to incline until we hit Aries season, when that becomes equal, and then it starts to go the other way. So the nights start to get shorter, but there is still a substantial darkness around that time. The 21st, the sun comes in, and then on the 23rd, we have the new moon in Capricorn. So important for you, because a new moon is a dark, it's blank, it's dark, and it's in detriment. And it's happening on the same day that Chiron goes direct. So will this be an emotional new moon? Yep, 100%, no doubt about it. Chiron can certainly bring out a lot of pain and wounds and insecurities. And when you don't have the support of the moon, because it's kind of like hidden and hiding, and you don't have the luminary aspects of the moon in detriment, in very harsh ruled, Saturn ruled Capricorn, it can feel like you're not being supported. Astrologically or environmentally or whatever the case may be. Now, this also may happen for your partner. It will happen for you, but it will happen for them as well if you have a partner. Or another person that is a relationship that is a point of focus for you. So there are going to be some feelings, and there's going to be a lot of like temptation to self-sabotage, or temptation to quit, or temptation to throw the book out the window and say, screw it, I'm not doing this. I'm going to go back to what I know. This is growing pains. December is very much, and I'm almost done with all the readings by now. I've done, by the time I'm recording this, I've done 9 readings so far. So I only have 3 left. So of the 9 readings that I've done, growing pains has been a theme for at least 70% of them. Okay? Growing pains. And those are hard because it challenges you and it forces you to cross that threshold that you thought you were ready for. You asked for it, you thought you were ready for it. But it's like when I think I used this example in one of the signs too. Let me use it again. It's like when you are, let's say you're doing something like a martial arts or something, okay? Or ballet or something that's really physically demanding. I was a ballerina as a kid, so that's why I threw ballet in there. But anyway, there's always like the basics. And people who have, technical skills, they can usually be really good at the foundations. All right, there are certain positions, certain movements, certain exercises that you can do, and you do them slowly and deliberately, and that's fine. And at first it can be a little bit rocky, but because of how simple they are, you can usually do those things. And then you hit like the next level. And this is when things start to speed up and things start to get more intense and there's a greater demand on you and you get pushed. And this is when like the real champions emerge, because it's the people that can handle it and who push through it and who fight for it that ultimately succeed, because it is that demanding. And the process is meant to weed out the weak. It's meant, and when I say weak, I mean the weak-willed. All right, the people that don't believe in themselves, it's meant to cut them off and say, you have more to work on. Go back to the fundamentals. And there's no right or wrong here. It just really depends on if you want to advance or not. And are you mentally prepared to advance or not? Not everybody is, and that's okay. No, there's no judgment here at all. It's just you and yourself. Are you ready to advance? So that's what Capricorn season, the new moon in Chiron is really going to bring out a lot. And people are going to get super triggered and they're going to be like, I got in way over my head. I can't do this. I never should have done, like all that. That devil on their shoulder is going to have a voice, and the angel is going to be really hard to hear. But it's only going to last for a few days, but it could be an impactful enough few days that it changes the course. All the action that was set forth with that full moon conjunct Mars could go right out the window like that. After 2 weeks, yeah, it could. It really could. So that's the case, and then we have Mercury going retrograde at 24 degrees. Now, it's not an exact conjunction with Pluto, but it is going to be close enough. All right, so Pluto will kind of be involved here, but Mercury being in Capricorn, it's kind of a no funny business type of Mercury retrograde. Like normally he can be really mischievous and whatever, but in Capricorn, he's not going to be allowed to play those games. Now, there could be big things that happen, like I'm actually really worried about my website because I've had so many issues with it already. I'm like, oh my gosh, could there be anything else? I'm like, oh man, that Mercury retrograde is in Capricorn. It's very likely that there could be something else for me. So there could be some big stuff that goes on there. But it's still like a no funny business. Like if there's anything outstanding that you're like, yeah, I'll fix it. Capricorn, like, okay, you're going to have to freaking fix it. End of December, beginning of January, you're going to have to confront it and you're going to have to straighten it out. And, you're not going to be able to let it just like keep going. It's just Capricorn's not going to let you. But that's good. It's good for everybody, And that's actually going to be the time, just a few days, right? 6 days after that new moon in Capricorn. That's the time when, okay, yeah, you can have your little emotional pity party and whatever, but if you get over it, that Mercury retrograde will actually be highly beneficial, where you sit down at your desk and you're like, all right, let's fix this. Let's fix this problem. Let's get the devil off my shoulder and let's just get our head into the freaking game. This is where a real commitment is going to come through. And I think it's going to be good for all of us who want it. Okay? All right, Cancer, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have an amazing December, and I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much.